Hi guys, and welcome to this new lecture about radio waves, and we are still in wave type polygon, and we want now to look at the stroke and all its controls. The stroke is about how the wave is drawn. Let's come to 1 second or two here. We notice now we have only thin lines. And we can change the way the stroke is drawn by using the profile, and we have several options. We can change the color, which I will do now, and change it to yellow. That will be cool for you, see it better. And also we have the opacity, the fade in time, fade out time, and we have the start width and the end width. To appreciate the profile and its options, we need the start width now to become a bit thicker. We make the stroke thicker. So if I take it to 100, that's the maximum value, you notice that the stroke are starting at 100 width. You notice now that end width is 5. This is totally in relation with the lifespan. I'll put the lifespan to 7, and then when it starts reaching the lifespan, the end width will take effect and it will disappear while it is only 5 in width. You can put it at 0. Now you have a double disappearance where it goes to 0. Here you are. And then at 8 it's completely disappearing. Fine. Let's go back to 5 here. In fact, we should go back to 100. That would be better to show you the other effects. Now, we go back to profile. Since we have a thick width, we can really play with the profile. Square is the default, and it will give you like a plane shape that is circle or maybe a polygon or 12 sides, whatever you want. Cool. Let's go to triangle. Triangle is another format to draw the wave, and it uses here an algorithm that is give you this kind of drawing where there is shading, there is a line in between that has full color, and things like this. It's up to you to start working with this. The other nice options is sawtooth out. So now it's toothing out, or it has teeth to the outside. If you take it back to 64, you will notice even how beautiful it could be. So tooth in is just the opposite. The fading is towards the inside, and you have also the Gaussian, which is pretty practical, but notice it isn't a lot from the start and end width. And also you have the bell, which is another format that's pretty cool if you want to use it. You notice the variations here. And you have the last one, which is sine. It uses a strong algorithm to give you this kind of waves. Here we are. If you take it back, you notice what is happening. So profile is about how you want your wave to appear, and you have many options which are cool and interesting. Of course, you should always remember that you can use modes. You can pre-compose on top of other solid layers and use modes and so on. You will have different kind of waves drawn. Cool. We saw the color and we changed it. Let's go to opacity. Notice that opacity is set to 1 by default. The opacity here goes from 0 to 1 only. It's a factor. It's a factor for the opacity of the layer. For example, the layer is at 100% opacity, and the opacity here is set to 1. It means it's going to take the full opacity of the layer. So it's a factor 1 times 100. This is the opacity that you will get. Let's go back to square. If I put opacity to 0.5, then it's going to take half of the opacity of the layer and become, like 50%. And you have to remember that you have fade in time and fade out time. The way they are fading, we'll look at this. Now, if you change the opacity of the layer at 50, you have a composite here, 0.5 times 50, so you are actually at 25%. Opacity here is very important because also it will play a role in the fade in and the fade out time. Let's go take it back to 100, and here we also make 100. No problem. Let's look at fade in time. You notice that the fade in time by default is 0. Fade in time is the time it will take the wave to appear at full opacity. So if you put it to 1, it's going to take 1 second for the wave to appear at full opacity of 1. You notice how when it's at 1 second, the opacity here is at its full according to the opacity factor here. If you go, for example, to 2, and you say fade in time is 2, so it's going to take 2 seconds to reach the full opacity. Here you are. It's pretty cool, by the way, and you can do quite some animation, quite some tricks here. That's very fine. Let's go back to 1 for fade in time. Now you have the fade out time. The fade out time is directly related to the lifespan. You know that lifespan is 7, we have put it there. It means at 7 seconds it will start disappearing completely, and at 8 it's gone. The fade out time specifies the amount of time it takes the wave to fade out of view. Fade out time is measured backward in time from the end of the lifespan. Meaning, from lifespan 7, you will go backward to 2, because we have 5 minus 7, that's 2, and this is when it starts fading out. So it's going to take 5 seconds for it to reach the complete lifespan and fade out completely. Cool. If you put the fade out time to 3, then you will have to go backward 3 seconds, and this is where it starts fading out. You notice here it's not fading out, but from 4, that is 7 minus 3, that is 4, it starts fading out. So this is pretty cool and pretty powerful. Let's go to 6, for example, and put here fade out time at 1. So actually your wave will be alive at full opacity, and we start fading at 6 seconds, and it's gonna fade pretty rapidly at 7. So really it depends on what you want to do and how you want your animation to go. Usually 5 is okay if you don't have anything specific, but actually making it 6 or 7 or 5 or 4, whatever you want, will be quite useful in fading them before the lifespan. Now what happens if you put it at 15? That is now higher than the lifespan itself. Well, what's gonna do is start, and you notice it start fading already. So it's gonna remove everything before 7. So here the fade out time now, because it's higher than the lifespan, is gonna be 7. So I start fading from the beginning. Okay, here you are, and you notice at 7 it goes. So if you increase the value of fade out time higher than the lifespan, then it will take only the remainder of 15 minus the lifespan and start fading from there, which will be from its birth. So this is about the stroke and how to control the stroke shape, fading in, fading out, and the width, of course, the start and end width. But you notice very well when you combine the stroke with the wave motion and the producer point and so on, you can have extraordinary animation. Thank you very much for listening. In the next lecture, we are going to look at parameters are set at birth or each frame. It's going to be pretty interesting.